My name's Carol King, and I'm the king in King Rose Archives. My late husband, Michael Rose, is the Rose in King Rose Archives. Let me tell you how this all started. Michael was an automotive historian, among other things. He was a documentary filmmaker. He was hired by General Motors out of the UCLA Film School to come work for them and help them develop their media presence. So he did that. And a few years later, he was approached by people who were doing a series, a brand new series for the History Channel called Automobiles. And they hired him to be the executive producer. So that's how he started. And along the way, he did hundreds of documentaries for the History Channel and other outlets about automotive history and the automobile. Contrary to what a lot of people think, the history of the automobile is much more than just the gearbox and the engine and all of those things. He loved the backstories. He liked to know how this car came into fruition. What was the inspiration for it? Who did it? What were the designers like? Who were the people who drove them? Why did they drive them? And all of those stories is what he decided to tell hundreds of documentaries. And then he branched out. And he started doing work for public television, for Discovery and other outlets, and his series went out internationally. So he collected a lot of information and gathered many, many stories, talked to some fascinating people. And he started a YouTube channel to showcase what we had done. We had worked on another series called Great Cars, which ran on public television for a couple of years. And from that, he decided that he wanted to share this footage beyond just television. And he had a lot of backstories. He had a lot of what they call B-roll. He didn't like that term because he thought it diminished it. It was important that you tell the full story. And that information that he collected, which was called B-roll, was what filled out the story and added interest and color to it. Boy, it was a wild ride. And unfortunately, Michael died in 2020, and I had to keep the channel going. That was his dream. He loved this YouTube channel. He loved sharing his stories. He loved sharing his discoveries. And I want to continue that. One of my most memorable experiences shooting on a shoot was in England, and it was about the Rolls-Royce. And we went there to shoot at the factory. And it was an amazing experience. We talked to so many people who worked there, and they took such pride in their work. And when you see the footage of them stitching this beautiful leather, just the perfection and the attention to detail. The company Rolls-Royce was founded by Rolls and Royce. And Rolls was very interested in aviation. He liked flying. He was a flyer. He did that. Well, he got together with Royce and they developed the Rolls-Royce car, which was perfection. And Rolls wanted to fly. He wanted them to get into the aviation business. And Royce didn't want to have anything to do with it. He thought it was way too dangerous. Well, Rolls kept flying. They worked together and they had a great relationship. They developed some really incredible cars. And sadly, Rolls ironically died in a plane crash. And he was the first person in England to die in a plane crash. And Royce just carried on, but that further hardened his opinion about aviation. In World War II, They developed the Merlin engine, which Royce said, if we're going to build an engine, the government cannot interfere. We're going to make it so that people will come home, that it can withstand being shot at. And they developed this engine that is credited with saving England and bringing most of their pilots home. They could get shot, their engine could be destroyed, and they could still fly home. It was an incredible engineering feat. And when we went to the Rolls-Royce factory, at the top of a staircase, there's a stained glass mural that depicts the Merlin engine and a pilot proudly returning home. It was so moving and so important. And to realize that the Rolls-Royce is an incredible vehicle. It's a very expensive vehicle, but it was a real contributor to the war effort. And Michael and I both were just moved by that stained glass window and the stories that they told us about it. And another one I love is the story about Bugatti. Ettore Bugatti was an artist, and he came from a family of artists. His father was a well-known designer. He'd created these absolutely beautiful pieces of furniture, and he was well known for that. And his brother, strangely enough, was named Rembrandt Bugatti, and he became a well-known artist. And Ettore had artistic feelings too, but he didn't think he could compete with his father and his brother, and he loved cars. So he started designing cars, and he put so much into his automobiles. He does every little detail he designed, and it had a design signature. Even the screws, the bolts, and they went in the opposite direction of the standard. So, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. In this case, it was the reverse. And Bugatti he was an artist. He was an artist. And in fact, the hood ornament for the Bugatti was based on Rembrandt Bugatti's sculpture. So there's the art in it too, which is interesting. And Michael was fascinated by the artistic aspects of Bugattis. And he loved that car. And we went to shows and we shot it, and it was really an impressive vehicle. And then there's a Mustang, the Michigan Mustang. I had a Mustang in 1978. It was the last of that model. And I loved my Mustang. It was just a great little car. And it really was, it was fun to drive. It was fun to drive. It got a lot of attention. People love that car, and they still do. I mean, the Mustang is iconic. I loved it for road trips, and I did a lot of road tripping with it. It was a great car. It was a chamois color, chamois glow, I think they called it. It was just this lovely pale champagne sort of color. I wish I'd kept that car. Oh, my favorite car. I mean, I've driven a lot of cars. I've been fortunate. When we did our Great Cars series, Michael was the photographer, the videographer. We had a little camera that we took everywhere, and he shot everything. We went to a Ferrari rally. If you're familiar with those, you'll know what I'm talking about. If not, Ferrari sponsors these events where they get Ferrari owners together and they do a rally. They give them a map, they tell them how far to go, and then they turn here, and then they go there, and then there's this big lunch, and then there's this fabulous dinner. We wanted to do a show about the Ferrari. And Ferrari gave us a car to use. And we were in Northern California, Napa Valley. We had a red Ferrari convertible. I'd never been in a Ferrari before. And Michael had to shoot this. So I got the instructions and the little lesson from the team there. And I'm in the driver's seat of a Ferrari. We had we had the top down, of course, and we're out in the country, wine country, and we get pulled over by a police officer. So I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm driving. I'm going to get a ticket. And we didn't even have the registration. So when they asked license and registration, what was I going to do? We're not going to be able to finish the show. We're going to have to, I don't know what we're going to do. All this is going through my mind. So the police officer, very friendly, comes up and he says, wow, this is quite a car. And Michael starts talking to him about the car, and he wants to see the engine, and he's asking about, it had paddle shifters. He wanted to know how that worked, and we're explaining that to him. And he said, okay, well, just be careful. Have a great time. We went on, and I couldn't believe it. I was so grateful. So those are a couple of the fun things that happened. There were many more, and you don't see those so much in the footage or in the show, but that's the backstory. Well, Michael loved cars. He loved history, and he loved the history of cars. Michael created this channel. He wanted people to appreciate the history and the vehicle as much as he did. And I think you'll find that as you go through the videos. I mean, some of it there is some gear stuff. I mean, you'll see engines, you'll see manufacturing processes, you'll see people driving cars, you'll see race cars, you'll see all of those things. And they're fun. They're fun. I grew up in Detroit and I like cars. My dad was involved with the UAW. My uncle was, my cousins. I mean, we were a car family, assembly and all the other things. And I used to be able to recognize the vehicles. I knew the difference between a Ford and a Chevy. I knew a Buick. I knew these cars, and I could even at one point tell what model year they were. Not anymore, because the industry has changed so much, and there are so many more automobile manufacturers, so many different brands. But I think if you like cars, there's some fun things to see, and you'll learn something, I hope. And that was Michael's goal. He wanted to share what he'd found. He wanted to share it with people and pull people in. And you don't have to be a car guy. You don't have to own a classic vehicle that you're having restored. Although if you do, you may be interested in the Packard or, some of the restorations of $1 million cars. But they're just fun to watch. Well, thank you for checking us out. I hope you enjoy the videos here. Let us know in the comments. And share. We'd really like to hear from you, and we'd love it if you'd share it with your friends and family and anybody you think might be interested.